Alright, I'm gonna save it here and do the reading for the tutorial stuff. And continue that.
Witcher, we're waiting.
Let's do the first reading as Roach gets all pissy at me. Hop over to the book. Oh, damn it. I forgot I was over there. Hold on. Hardened leather boots. Okay. Beggars in the Mist. Magic drowning that burrows tunnels, climbs trees, is more vicious than usual, and when ambushing its prey, it does so with many of its kin. Now you have a good idea what a necker is. These primitive creatures are the bane of the wilderness. The inhabitants of forest villages fear them, animals giving their nest a wide berth. Neckers are social creatures, gathering in something akin to tribes, for they can only repel the attacks of stronger assailants en masse. Witchers can use a full range of skills and techniques when fighting neckers. Signs, bombs, poisons, and oils that augment bleeding are all extremely effective against the beast. Necker nests are best destroyed with grape shot bombs. I like this. This is much better than the way Witcher 1 book had it. When you had a monster book, it just says, this added a journal glossary. It says that there on the side, but actually it gives you just like someone actually writing down notes and telling you about it. These are the soldier orders I picked up randomly off the people in the tutorial. Unit commanders, all forces to fall behind immediately and defend the routes leading to the temple. These positions must be held at all costs. Death of the tyrant. Alright. Before he yells at me again. Well, let's see. We have the prologue stuff. I don't have to worry about active quests or anything like this is massive compared to the other game. Just look at that shit. It's much more well written compared to the first game. They're like, I did this, do that. But I'm first going to start this. I do the quest last like I always do. Anyway, since those are both new, I'm going to start with Valette Castle. During my, again, this is written, sorry to interrupt again, this is written as like Geralt's point of view. I think it's Geralt's point of view. It might actually be Dandelion writing this down now that I think about it. So I will find out when I read. I think, if I recall correctly, it was Dandelion. So this kind of makes it interesting. Anyway, during my travels, I visited the dynastic abode of La Valette family several times. Anyone considered Vizima an impressive city is unlikely to see the ancestral citadel of the La Valettes. The immensity of the fortress is simply breathtaking, to the extent that calling it a mere castle is either a gross inaccuracy or a jest. Expanding over generations, the walled tower boasts the greatest fortifications in Temeria, perhaps in all northern kingdoms. The citadel is located under the strangely important White Bridge, and which connects the banks of the Pontar. It commands the entire area, including nearby trade routes with the river crossing. No wonder that the rebellion of La Valette's disturbed Foltest's sleep. Alright. During my visit to La Valette's family's vast abode, where I had the pleasure of meeting the Baron's niece, a charming creature but 16 years old, my host, clearly proud of his lands and holdings, offered to show me around the keep's expansive and varied cellars. Yeah, it's written as Dandelion. I can confirm with that. While he entertained me with the conversation and anecdotes on the various subjects, including a unique system of penalties designed for the seducers of the underage, I got a thorough tour of the dungeon beneath La Valette Castle. Guards were exceptionally polite and seemed to have an unerring sense of direction within the labyrinth network of vestibules, cells, and winding corridors. I imagined that without their help it would be easy to lose one's way there, wandering around for hours, unable to find an exit. I would not envy any soul imprisoned there. This is the main reason I wanted to do the readings, is because the way this is, in Witcher 2 it's written, it's really cool because it's like someone just retelling events in a book. I like the way they set that up. Witcher 1 was pretty neat, but Witcher 2 definitely takes the cake for that one. Before he got entangled in the revolt against Foltest, Sir Echeverry was known for his valor and tenacity as a knight, proving both in more than one tournament, either mounted or on foot, yet valiance and tenacity meant nothing in the face of a ballista bolt, and thus the brave Echeverry paid with his life for his ill-advised participation in the rebellion. New Boy. His soldier had acquired a legend miraculous amulet, truly believed in his power would protect him from any and all harm. Geralt did not have the time or patience to discuss the trinket, so New Boy went into battle without his armor, clad only in the faith he was invulnerable. Either his faith was too weak, or the amulet, even if magical, served a different purpose. New Boy fell during the assault on La Valette Castle. Though he did not show it, meeting Tallies was a great surprise to Geralt at the time. They met each other in the past in rather unpleasant circumstances, and the knight had a scar-faced reminder of the meeting. This time Tallies got away cleanly, the Witcher having confined himself to a few acrid words. Aspirate words, or whatever. The church dignitary, confident of the god's protection, greeted the intruders with harsh words, yet he succumbed to persuasion and revealed where the king would find his illegitimate offspring. And now you have, like, secondary main characters set up. Anyway, Mary Louise La Valette had a chance to visit the court of La Valette, some location in the past, and availability was greeted and received a matter of venting my fame and talent. Excuse me. Baroness Mary Louisa was a very comely lady, her beauty having fully blossomed, her hair dark, her lips sensuous. As with many women married to markedly older men, rumors about her were plentiful. Among them, one claiming that she had a love affair with King Foltest himself, and that the monarch had fathered her younger children. Triss Merigold. I know the sorceress Triss Merigold for a long time, for she is one of Geralt's closest friends. A young, pretty, talented, and auburn-haired mage from Erebor, hardly remind me of the giggling flapper of years past. Her knowledge, abilities, and loyalty brought her far. A hero from Southern, known as 14th of the Hill, for she was mistakenly counted as the 14th mage to die in that battle, she sat the royal council of King Foltest and Temeria. Although they say that a monarch's favor is uncertain, for the king had once expelled all mages from Temeria, Triss had managed to gain Foltest's trust. As a result, as regards to The Witcher, everyone who has witnessed Triss' relationship with Geralt, and even saw them together, could easily confirm that these two had more in common, and it's common knowledge that one old flame never dies. For those reasons, after Foltest's death, the sorceress decided she'd help The Witcher most by staying by his side. Not heeding her position in court, she harnessed all her strength and powers to helping Geralt, whom she still had feelings for. Geralt of Rivia. Behold our hero, subject to mutations and rigorous sword and sorcery training as a child. He's become a superhuman monster slayer, always penniless and often disdained by those whom he protects. He wanders the world seeking work. Fate is a little mercy on him, piling obstacles in his way, yet he trudges on. He has more scruples than a beggared bum has fleas. Doubts haunt him even within a band of ruffians, knife strong, approaches him on the highway. Is he a good man? I do not think so. Does he try to maintain his humanity? I believe he does. You must already know that Geralt of Rivia died once already, or at least everyone thought him dead. During a massacre in Rivia, he sought to defend non-humans and fell overwhelming odds. Placed in a boat, he floated in the mist into a realm where he finally found peace. Not for long, because our forces to be mentioned later, Geralt returned just in time to defend the Witcher's ancient home fortress, and embarked on a mission to recover the secret stolen from it. Along the way, he took apart... See, this is another interesting thing. Depending on how your decisions go, this changes. So I like that. Along the way, he took part in a Scoia'tael uprising, shattered a powerful criminal organization, and killed the Grand Master of the Order of the Flaming Rose. All the while, his fame as his lover grew. Well, that's Geralt for you. As if this wasn't enough, he then foiled the attempted assassination of King Foltest of Temeria became one of the monarch's more trusted man. In retrospect, his Royal Majesty King Foltest was certainly an exceptional persona when compared to the other crowned heads at the time. The king, speak of the past tense, I like that. This King of Temeria, Prince of Southern, Sovereign upon Tarmacom, as I suppose one should expect, and from someone who's so abundantly titled, he was the kind of man who, when hit, made a sound suggesting he was forged of steel, not molded of bird dung. Being unmarried, he led a rather casual private life in his youth. While still a prince, Foltest strove to demonstrate what he was capable of, and he proved capable of much. Love affair he had with his own sister, by whom he fathered his eldest daughter, Ada, is widely known, and his latter affection for Baroness Mary Louise La Valette. Both relationships have had heavy consequences, so to speak. In both instances, Geralt found himself stuck in the middle of the resulting mess. Foltest most certainly still harbored feelings for his former lover and decided to save the children that was the fruit of his affair. He felt that would they otherwise become trump cards in the game of politics, tools, of intrigue. Once Foltest made a decision, no one and nothing could stand in his way. Deaths of the great and powerful of this world do not always befit their lives. The blow was so unexpected that even the Witcher failed to react in time. Dagger's blade ran across the throat of Foltest, the ruler of Temeria, cleanly slitting it, and his blood flowed into the river of the Temple Solar. Thus died one of the most powerful kings of the north at the hands of an assassin in the garb of a monk. It was always awkward to write about oneself, again, confirmation that it is Dandelion. Yet I cannot shirk this duty. In an effort to preempt any accusations of partiality, I shall set down the humblest of notes, relating only the best-known facts. Dandelion, in reality, the Viscount de Lothove, though titles are important, is a certified troubadour, a lecturer at Oxford and University, persona known among society as a charmant poet, dandy, and unparalleled lover. Almost everyone north of the Yaruga has heard of him, and those who have not either bores or simpletons or both, as a result of which their opinions do not matter in the slightest. Dandelion played a significant part in the most important events of the era. He loved, fought, negotiated, and acquired immense knowledge, even that of the forbidden variety. He Her works are a testimony of the times, but his moving poetic tropes have brought him true fame. The important thing to his story is that Dandelion was a friend of Geralt of Rivia, possibly his only true friend. He was Geralt's confidant, advisor, and companion in misery, for his impossible experience good fortune in the Witcher's company. What Geralt did, Dandelion faithfully recounted, and one should not give precedence to accuse the humble chronicle of confabulating. Vernon Roach. There's a man like Vernon Roach in every monarch's return. Brave and determined, ready to execute any command, dolefully hatred at court. He knows that only allegiance and service to the king keep him in his position. Roach was the leader of the Blue Stripes, King Foltest special forces, renowned, among other things, for battling Scoia'tael and quelling many a rebellious non-human community. His owners command that the unit rose to fame. Vernon earned Foltest's favor and trust through his deeds. One word from the king and he would jump headlong into a fire, asking only how long it was to stay there and hold his ground. That's the kind of man Vernon Roach was at the time. Vernon provided to be perceptive when he refused to flatly believe Geralt's guilt. Too many things needed to be explained, and the Blue Stripes commander decided risking cooperation with the suspect to get his hands as Foltest's real killer. Thus, he retained loyalty to his king even after his death. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. We take a drink of water while I scroll down. One water bottle. Yeah, I like this much better than Witcher 1. A lot more reading, but it's just more in-depth and gives more spirit and character to the story. Yeah, I hope they keep this up with Witcher 3. Anyway, continuing his private investigation, Vernon headed for the Temeria-Darien border, where he expected to find clues to the Kingslayer's whereabouts. Thanks to his very best informant, Roach knew that the man could have been hiding amongst the Scoia'tael located in the vicinity of Flotsam, the trading post. Thus weighed the royal hound. Vernon Roach was on the hunt once more. Again, no more than a lad back then. How far ahead is this? It's like Dandelion talking or writing this from past Witcher 3. I don't know, but he's saying no more than a lad back then. Right now he's still a lad, and for him to be an adult, that's a massive, massive year gap. I don't know. I like that though. It leaves some mystery to the air. Anyway, no more than a lad back then. Bussy already displayed the pride and obstinacy typical of La Valette's. Some, however, attributed these qualities to the fact that King Foltest was his father. The daughter of Baroness Mary Louise La Valette was scant, few summoners old at the time. Rumors that the King Foltest was the father gave beginning to many important events. Vess. The fair-haired Vess stood apart from the rest of Vernon Roach's unit. Not only that, she was the only woman in the entire formation that hardened cutthroats and swashbucklers. Her girlish face and shapely body would stand out even if in a uniform did not emphasize them. For there's something in soldier women that attracts a man's gaze, and Vess was no exception. The reader should not, however, be misled by the description. One does not earn a Blue Stripes membership with good looks, but with skill, determination, and all times ruthlessness. Anyone discarding Vess would pay dearly for misjudging this young woman. Because of her gender, Vess would sometimes receive assignments where her beauty was more important than her combat abilities and efficiency. Roach had used Vess as a trump card more than once. Shillard Fitz Orlestein, then. Many northern kings appeared in the story, rash and thoughtful, amorous and frigid, brave and cowardly. Readers should easily see that should their crowns be removed and a pitchfork sword and a bunch of bills or a gold's apple given to the scepter's head, they would be human as we all are. The same, however, cannot be said of the Emperor of Nilfgaard, the white flame dancing on the barrels of his enemies, whose shadow fell over all the events I've written down. Interesting. That just those little subtle hints. I like that. In this case, the shadow is represented by Shillard Fitz Orlestein, a consummate diplomat who started more than one war and only ended accepting homage from the defeated. Homage. Arian La Valette, Baroness La Valette's eldest child, Arian was beyond all doubt her and the old baron's son. Raised to be a knight, and he sought to uphold the virtues of his state, violating courage and valor, and striving to by his every deed to embody them. He must have felt extreme discomfort by the conflict that engulfed him, and at the roots lay his mother and his family's honor. Pitted against widely discussed rumors of a love affair between the Baroness and the King Foltest. Though the situation was dire, the young knight's valiantly combated the defenses of his family's castle, intending to give not an inch of ground. Seeing that further resistance was hopeless, Arian yielded, laid down his arms, and placed himself at the king's mercy. Fate seeks forever to amuse itself towards the purpose it likes to play tricks. It brought the former foes together once more as both fled the dungeons beneath La Valette's family's vast abode. Honor prevented the proud youth from fleeing from his family seat while it was in enemies' hands. Arion made a decision that would mean certain death for himself, and he nevertheless made it without hesitation, sealing with the sacrifice the bloodiest chapter ever in La Valette family annals. Oops. Kingslayer, disguised as a blind monk, the mysterious assassin took Geralt by surprise, displaying immense self-control and lightning reflexes, not to mention a talent for acting. He murdered the king before the Witcher's very eyes. He then leapt out a window of the solar before Geralt could grab him. Surviving the fall unharmed, the assassin fled with the aid of some Scoia'tael. Information of Vernon Roach's possessions served to confirm what Geralt had witnessed. The man matching the Kingslayer's description had been seen in the company of Scoia'tael near the trading post of Flotsam. Fighting him seemed like the Witcher's only chance. And Devonbin, son of Virifuri, ruler king in the Mattern, was mightily aggrieved during the last war with Nilfgaard. Proponent of authoritarian rule, he was seen as having no love for non-humans. He often moved radically against Scoia'tael, though he drooled in spite of himself when the guerrillas perpetrated massacres of his own people, as these justified the punitive expeditions he delighted in sending in the foothills of Dol Blathana. He also showed no shyness towards imprisoning and torturing rabble rousers and street prophets who would interfere with his politics. Thus, it was no wonder that many could not wait to see him dead. In spite of this, his subjects could not help but be surprised by his death, for it's not every day that a crowned head paints the palace floor with its blood. And that was written by the same book, and you can see what it said. Superb leather trousers. I had the crafting diagram provided to craftsman to produce. Gives you the damage reduction, resistances. So you can see what is required, along with the clawer, which is a trap. That's like the recipes that they have there, and these are the formula. Oh no, this is tutorial. Critical effects. The part of percentage damage Geralt his foes may use critical effects during combat. It's just tutorial stuff, which I already know. Adrenaline. Appears to add an attribute in later stages of the game and affects a series of Geralt's special abilities. Geralt can deploy given abilities once the adrenaline bar is fully charged. Depending on the chosen development path, Geralt can generate adrenaline in one of three ways: by attacking foes with the sword, casting magic signs at them, or by consuming potions and thus increasing its toxicity. Character development in Witcher 2 consists of acquiring new abilities for Geralt. Each ability has 2 levels, for each can be acquired from 1 talent. Abilities are distributed between 4 development paths: Witcher Training, Mage, Alchemist, and Swordmaster. Only the Witcher Training path is unlocked at the start of the game. To unlock the remaining paths, you must first allocate 6 talents to abilities on the Witcher Training path. In addition to combat abilities, Geralt will also acquire new skills, affecting how you relate to other characters, including intimidation, the Axie Hex, and persuasion. Using these while talking to other characters and influence how a conversation proceeds. Each of the abilities has 3 levels, which advances the word as the abilities are used. Geralt can also acquire abilities for completing specific quests for exceptional achievements in combat. Monster lore is an element apart, with higher levels of knowledge awarded for combating specific monsters or reading books about them. Acquiring additional information about foes increases Geralt's ability to fight them and allows them to destroy their nests, which is equivalent to exterminating them in a given area. We know about these. Crafting. Crafting the same idea as potion making, and they're in villages. Don't forget to pay them to do good work. And you have the tutorial stuff, picking up liquor. All that stuff we already saw at the very beginning. I'm just going to go over them so that there's no exclamation mark for them. Alright. Now we have Swallow, symbolizing it gives you vitality regeneration +1, vitality regeneration during combat +1, 25 toxicity, lasts for 10 minutes? Yeah, it's minutes. Basic substances required: vitriol, aether, and kalium. Symbolizing spring and rejuvenation, the Swallow lent its name to the potion that accelerates the rate at which wounds scab over and heal. As a universal brew, is good on many occasions and additionally provides no side effects. The Witcher can use a Swallow potion to balance some of the undesirable effects of potions like Thunderbolt, Mirrorbolt Force, Lapring, Tiara, and Stammer Forward's Filter. Potion increases toxicity slightly when embedded. It is recommended that before long fights, slow but constant vitality regeneration will provide a significant advantage over foes. Witchers, unsure of the dangers they might face in a given situation, consume this universal brew as a sail face. As a fail safe, not a sail face. Samium, 15 to 30 damage, 30% stun, less. That's not 40 minutes though. Is that 40 range? Oh shit. Didn't mean to hit that. Don't know what the glossary is for. I haven't got anything in there yet. Anyway, let's go back to... I guess I'll start Rook and I'll head back to Samium. 25 toxicity, 10 duration. Use vitriol, vermilion, hydrogen. And Rook is especially powerful and popular among witchers who believe that killing monsters quickly is their best defense. The potion increases muscle power and thus damage to felt in close combat. Unlike Thunderbolt, it has no side effects. Rook can alleviate the side effects of White Rafford's decoction and Gadwall and Tiara. Huh, I wonder what White Rafford's like in this game. Potion causes minor intoxication when imbued. Potion is recommended for witches who prefer to use their swords in fights and deploy signs sporadically. Rook is especially helpful against resilient and heavily armored opponents. That's pretty nice. Golden Oriole. Did that tell me? Just a straight up attack. And it gives you resistances to those. 25 toxicity and 10 duration. Rebus, Vermilion, Nicalium. Golden Oriole is one of the best known witcher potions, increasing resistance to special attacks such as poisoning, incineration, and bleeding. Brew also negates the side effects of Lapring and Brock potions while producing no side effects of its own. Potion increases toxicity slightly when imbued. Golden Oriole is recommended before fighting monsters and powerful special attacks. It is effective against venomous and fire-breathing creatures as well as those that cause bleeding. Petrie's Filter. 7 damage bonus and sides, 50 toxicity in the last 10 minutes. Rebus, Aether, and Kuberth. The potion created by the student of famous mage of the first conclave is weaker than Stammerford's filter, but it has no side effects. Petrie's Filter increases the intensity of Witcher signs, the impact of the Yard, defenses of the Quinn, and the effectiveness of the Uridan, and so on. Potion increased toxicity very markedly when imbued. It is recommended that witches rely more heavily on magic than on their swords before fights against monsters vulnerable to signs. Alright, Falca's Blood. Duration 3, 50 circles, has no weight. Vitriol, Vermilion, Killium, and Kuberth. Falca's Blood increases the maximum damage dealt with the sword. Differs from Whirl in that luck determines whether a witcher using this oil will land a hard or light blow. The blade's grease owes its name to King Verdex's daughter, rebel known for her cruelty. Falca's Blood is especially effective against those resilient, heavily armored opponents. Brown oil gives you extra bleeding. Needs Rebus, Hydrogen, and Vermilion, and Nicalium. Wounds caused by blade covered with brown oil do not heal. The blade grease also augments hemorrhaging. Hit an opponent with a blade covered with brown oil, adopt a defensive stance, and stall for time. The adversary will soon drop to the ground due to the loss of blood. Oil is ineffective against creatures resistant to bleeding. Cat, 25 toxicity, 5 duration, 10 circles. Aether, Vermilion, Hydrogen. Cat is one of the potions witchers use most often. After imbuing it, the witcher is able to see in the total darkness and will avoid being surprised by any nocturnal creatures. Potion allows its user to see both living creatures and those made of inanimate matter, even through walls. Catleys slightly disrupts perception, however, as a result, its user deals less damage to monsters. A Rook potion can be used to alleviate the side effect. Potion causes minor intoxication when imbued. The cat potion is recommended before entering a cave or a crypt and before a midnight stroll through dangerous terrain. Insamium. 15 to 30% damage, 30% sun, and 40 circles. Aether and Rebus. As Zircanian invention, Ceramians found its way north thanks to merchants and was later adopted by witchers. The bomb stuns and immobilizes all creatures within range, rendering them defenseless against the witcher's blade. The bomb is ineffective against creatures resistant to stunning. Alright, at the foray. The siege tower reached the walls and spread forth its load of Temerian soldiers and knights. The battle was joined. Foltest fought in the vanguard. The Witcher fought by his side, protecting the king. Led by these two, soldiers moved towards the nearest tower, securing the walls one section at a time. The loyalist army pushed the enemy back, with Foltest at its head and Geralt but a step behind him. The assault lost its momentum at the foot of the tower, headed by La Valette and a troop of skilled archers. Foltest was prepared to take heavy losses, but Geralt cannot agree to more bloodshed without good cause. In addition to a strong arm, the Witcher also possessed a lithe tongue. In fact, many sources can attest. Oh God. He stealthily made his way to the top of the tower to parley with the proud young Baron. Geralt explained the situation to Arryn in simple, soldierly words. The Baron belonged to a rare breed. He's proud and rash, but no fool. La Valette chose to spare the soldiers who stood so loyally by his side and surrendered the fortress. Not everyone followed that order, but Foltest's victory was nonetheless assured. To the temple. An ancient temple stood within the walls of La Valette Castle, and its defenders had hidden Foltest's children there. As was custom during attacks, the gate to the sanctuary was firmly shut. Battering it down would take the soldiers far too long to satisfy the irritable Foltest. King ordered Geralt to find another way inside, so the Witcher went and searched for the back entrance. As it turned out, some La Valette soldiers had barricaded themselves in the back alley. The Witcher thought it strange that someone defended a dead end, and concluded that the alley could conceal a secret passage to the temple grounds. Geralt's hunts proved correct. The alley led to a small square, and there was a well through which La Valette soldiers had passed between the temple grounds of the town. Witcher dropped into the well and entered a secret passage. Lo and behold, the secret tunnel access to the old well provided an alternate route to the sanctuary. Accustomed to navigating through tight quarters of caves, the Witcher reached the exit in no time. Now he had to open the gate from the inside and led the restless king and his troops in. But if the gate was defended by La Valette soldiers, Geralt found himself searching the yard for the gate mechanism while fending off attacking foes. Having overcome the defenders and opened the temple gate, Geralt went out through it to show Foltest in. He had accomplished this mission, yet more danger awaited the path leading to the king's bastard children. Two startling events occurred during the siege of La Valette Castle, counter to prophecy. Golkus the White killed his brother and not his father, while Count Palatine Rosencrantz stopped to catch his dropping pants and thus evaded an axe heading straight for his head. Also, no one could predict that the Temerians would be attacked by a dragon, not a folktale, as the scouts had reported, but a huge, angry, fire-breathing dragon. Surprised by the beats, Geralt stood no chance against it on the bridge. He ordered all retreats to the town and rushed into that direction himself. It was there in the temple quarter that Foltest's children were being held. The king's goal was once the Witcher's. We should pay honor to the soldiers and knights of La Valette who defended their lords to the bitter end. They did not retreat even when the dragon belched forth its devastating fire. Taking shelter from the heat beneath the hoarding, Geralt was forced to put them to the sword. Once the defenders were no more, Foltest and the others could pass through the gate. La Valette forces them were defeated, but the dragon remained a threat. It came at our heroes with all its might, showing presence of mind and exceptional ability. Triss Merigold responded with magic. With her help, Geralt, Foltest, and Vernon Roche managed to reach the bridge leading to the town. There, Geralt did all he could to safely get his comrades to the other side. Our heroes survived the ordeal through a bit of luck, but also by staying clear-headed. To this very day, Geralt remembers the events of the bridge as some of the most perilous in his career as a Witcher. Woe to the vanquished. An easier victory behind him, Foltest's soldiers grew cocky. They brazenly terrorized the town's inhabitants. Geralt watched their acts of cruelty with growing disgust. When Geralt saw a soldier shooting a fleeing woman to prove the last straw, and the Witcher intervened. He'd often taken the side of the oppressed, and this time was no different. Clearly something very wrong was going inside the house from which the woman had fled. Inside, a group of Foltest soldiers threatened to kill the townfolks unless they surrendered their gold and valuables. Witcher magic claimed that the hot-headed fighters, and it seemed a massacre had been averted. Moments later, Geralt learned that elsewhere soldiers were herding townsfolk to a single home. Genocide was in the air. Eager for bloody and booty, soldiers intervened to set fire to the house in which they had imprisoned the townsfolk. Subjects of the La Valettes were in mortal danger, and only the Witcher could save them. Therefore, our hero approached the unit's commander with a sharp and exchange ensued. The negotiations grew so heated that the negotiators soon dropped their swords. Geralt knew perfectly well that he could defeat the Temeria commander in a duel. His men would stand down and refrain from killing the townsfolk, and so it was, seeing their commander yield to the Witcher. Soldiers lost their zeal for tormenting civilians. They sauntered off like beaten dogs, and the townfolk were saved. Witcher then freed the civilians trapped inside the house, and the true hero that he was refused to take any reward. It's through such deeds that Geralt inspires me to write uplifting ballads. Militelli's heart. In Foltest's camp, Geralt ran to the Grenford Reavers. Having lost his memory, the Witcher one no longer recalls the trouble the bunch of rogues had caused during the famous hunt for the Golden Dragon. As it turned out, Kenneth, David, and Brana, Boholt, had received a new comrade with great originality. They called him New Boy. Four were joining the assault law on La Valette Castle that day. Problem was that the drunken Reavers had bet one of Foltest's night that New Boy would survive the battle while attacking solely in his trousers and shirt. A protective amulet they had plundered from a roadside shrine was to help him. As for his advice, Geralt told him that the amulet was indeed magic, thus confirming the Reaver's conviction that New Boy would emerge from the battle unharmed, and he would win the wager. The talisman proved worthless. New Boy, the young Reaver's body, became food for the crows. Geralt took the worthless bauble as a memento of human stupidity. Foltest's assault lost momentum at one of the castle towers. The army that had raged on like a hurricane now suddenly would stop the barricade the defenders had erected the tower's entrance. There's no way to approach it, as La Valette's arrows rained down from above like little snowflakes in the Yuletide. Luckily, in the nearby square stood a ballista that the defenders had failed to position on the walls. Geralt spotted the war machine and decided to use it to destroy the barricade. First, however, he needed to overcome the soldiers guarding it. Drink of water. Alright. Seeing what was about to happen, La Valette's soldiers converged on the ballista to stop the Witcher. Our hero needed to propel him, only then he could aim the machine at the barricade, blocking access to the tower. In a desperate bid to stop the Witcher, another wave of La Valette's soldiers swarmed upon him. Our hero was forced to step away from the ballista and once again to defend himself. He can launch a bolt only after dealing with the attackers. In the end, Geralt manned the ballista with the skill of a consummate artilleryman, hit the heavy bolt from the machine, and a makeshift barricade shattered into bits. Foltest troops resumed their assault on the tower. Witchers followed them to rejoin Foltest in the walls. With Geralt back inside, Foltest continued the assault on La Valette Castle. My story begins after the fateful events in which the Witcher of Geralt of Rivia, also known as the White Wolf, saved Foltest, Lord of Temeria, from an assassin. From that moment on, the monarch would not quit the Witcher's company, turning from an itinerant monster slayer into a royal bodyguard, and causing him to suffer increasingly. However, since it was unwise to deny a king, Geralt now found himself in the lands of La Valette, where Foltest had taken personal command of the siege of the rebel family's wall tower and castle. We just know well how fickle fortune can be, and according luck had abandoned our hero within the castle walls. Due to tragic mistake, Geralt was imprisoned in the castle's dungeon. We had to patiently recount events to Vernon Roach, Foltest's right-hand man. If you wish to know just how the Witcher plunged from the pinnacle of success to the depths of misfortune, listen to my tale. Geralt had been in trouble many times due to stammer, and in the slammer, at least 3, including once in my esteemed company. He'd always been able to get out, either with the help of friends or by turns or good fortune. This time, however, things looked bleak. Almost everyone thought the Witcher had murdered the king. Luckily, Vernon Roach had his doubts. Roach completed his grueling interrogation of Geralt and left the Witcher to the guards, but not before having our hero the key to the manacles, and he would wait aboard his ship. All Geralt had to do was escape from the dungeons on his own, a trifle. Prison guards are the same in the world over, dumb and short-tempered. Geralt succeeded in provoking his caretakers as easy as cooked fries in an omelet. Life can be surprising, especially when you're trying to evade death. Sneaking through the dungeon, Geralt chanced upon Arryn and La Valette. Erstwhile foes, brought together once more by fate, became allies. Arryn knew the castle like the back of his hand, but the Witcher had the sword, so he went forth to clear the way. Before anyone could say where 2 vacant cells and several openings from new jailers, Geralt dealt with the guards and turned back to Arryn and La Valette. The young Baron knew a secret passage to the fugitives out in the direction. Witcher escaped from the fortress, but Arryn chose to remain behind. Probably would not allow him to leave his family seat in enemy hands, thus ensuring the fire was the talk of the surrounding villages for years. And to this day, the phrase, brightly as the night castle burned down, remains a local vernacular. Geralt was free. He rushed towards the riverboat of special forces, his head jumbled with questions. Tris Marigold and Vernon Roach waited aboard the vessel, but alas, they had no answers. Future events would shed light upon the mystery. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Blood of his blood. Priests can be very touchy about the intruders defiling temples, a fact which the desecrators and lionhead spider sanctuaries can attest. Luckily, this time Geralt had a less macabre cult to deal with, and the high priest turned to be sensitive to changes in the political climate. I take a drink of water. However, before heroes could reach the king's progeny, the dragon swooped down. After the few words of Witcher and the monarch were on their way to the solar, which they hoped to find the children. However, before heroes could reach the king's progeny, the dragon swooped down on them once more. The beast attacked with fury and fought relentlessly. Had Geralt been, say, a potter, and only charred corpses would possibly some earthenware shards or whatever remained, but the dragon was up against the Witcher, and after a fierce battle was forced to turn tail. Geralt had fled the solar to Bucina Anias. The king found his children, the blood of his blood, only to die at hands of assassin disguised as a monk. On the temple floor, where his throat slit open, so died Foltest, son of Medel, king of Temeria, prince of Sovereign, sovereign upon Tarnamacum, the senior protector of Brugg and Nine-Hander. Geralt failed to stop the murder, and when soldiers burst in the room, they immediately mistakenly identified him as the Kingslayer. They piled upon the Witcher, knocking him down and talking him out. Oh. Ever since Geralt saved Foltest's life, the king had been fond of keeping his favorite Witcher close to his side. Thus, when the monarch led his siege to the walled town and castle the munitions Baron La Valette, Geralt found himself within a whirling days away a few tents down from the king's own, in the company of Trismerigold, the sorceress, the Witcher's lover, and Foltest's royal advisor. These were pleasant moments, despite the mild relentlessness that plagued our hero. Finally, on the day of the assault, he was summoned before his royal majesty, and that is how his troubles began. At the time, King Foltest was playing Hjosa Schillard Fitz-Ornstein, Empire, Nilfgaard, and senior emissary. Monarch and envoy had been conferring with Geralt arrived at the hour the assault drew near. The confident King of Witcher, making the best of the tense situation, moved to join the king's forces in the siege tower. Propelled by the soldiers' mighty shoulders, the siege tower rolled towards victory. Green recruits shot themselves. Veterans drank deeply from the tight, collapsed flasks. Foltest boasted and roused his troops, like Geralt struggled with a sense of foreboding. The interrogation in the dungeon of La Valette Castle took its toll on Geralt. Witcher's body, despite his mutations, was beat up, bruised, and scarred. At one point, Geralt experienced a shock so extreme that it excited an old memory. All of a sudden, the Witcher recalled the moment of his death. Once more, he relived his demise in Rivia. Once more, he lay on the ground, pierced by the peasant's pitchfork. Once more, he bled to death. When another vision came to him a few days later, Geralt knew he was gradually recovering his memory. When Geralt thwarted the plans of Grand Mazer of the Order of the Flaming Rose, it seemed the situation of Vizima would return normal sooner or later. Blow came from an unexpected quarter. As the Witcher was collecting his word from King Foltest, assassins sneaked into the throne room of the royal palace. Foltest would perish if not for the Witcher's presence of mind. Geralt defended the would-be Kingslayer and saved the monarch's life, but the Witcher was left wondering who had sent the killer and why. Intriguingly, the assassin seemed very similar to a Witcher, so much that he could have been one. Foltest was not so lucky the second time, having dropped his guard. Witcher was caught by surprise when the king died at the hands of the assassin. Murder was also mutant, similar in garb and behavior to the previous assassin. Furthermore, he seemed to recognize Geralt. Sadly, the Kingslayer escaped, and our hero is blamed for the monarch's death. First imprisoned, now pursued for the crime he did not commit, the Witcher was sailing up the Pontar River toward the Tower of Flotsam. Geralt wanted to clear his name and was intrigued by the Witcher-like assassins. Our hero needed to solve the mystery of the Kingslayers and is certain inform of the Temeria intelligence services to help him in that. Thank you for watching.